you're eating crappy food, fasting is not going to objectively help you. So again, those people that I'm talking about are not metabolically damaged because they're not really eating a crappy diet. What I'm talking about is you can have some grains from time to time, especially if they're on the cleaner sides. You can have carbs in your diet, especially if they're cleaner, things like potatoes, organic rice. You don't necessarily have to restrict carbs if the food quality is high. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we spoke about that before on here about you also saying earlier on about the carnivores, and I've said I'll never jump into a camp like carnivore or keto or anything like that because everybody's different, and you can add in those things if they're whole foods, real foods. You know, I've also said like if you sort out 90% of your nutrition, make sure 90 to 95% of your nutrition is based around the nutrient dense foods, then those other things, like if you want to incorporate them into your diet, just do it gradually, slowly, see how they come in. I mean, when I spoke to Brian, we talked about bioavailability and the anti-nutrients and things like that in vegetables. But that's doesn't matter in that sort of 5 to 10% of your diet. It only matters if that takes up a lot more of your nutrition. Do you agree with that?
100%. And again, you can leverage fasting to sort of be more resilient to those anti-nutrients. I think that, I think that fasting is this acute stress on your body that actually makes you stronger. And it's a fun way to think about it because, like, how is fasting good for you? You can talk about hormone balance, right? You can talk about the fact that it causes some calorie restriction just because you're fasting and you can't possibly eat that much. But what I really think it does is it creates an acute stress. And we know that when you have an acute stress, your body goes through a process of hormesis. Your brain becomes stronger for it because you're pushing through something that's uncomfortable. And I think that in and of itself makes you more resilient and ultimately more able to tolerate anti-nutrients, inflammation, or anything negative that comes your way. And I think that's why so many people find so much benefit from fasting. And fasting induces this ketosis process, which when combined with a low carb diet, you could be in ketosis a lot. And again, we're not keto. We're not fixated on keto strips. I really don't recommend doing all that. Some people love it. I don't think that's a great strategy for most people. I don't think it's important to be obsessed with ketosis. The idea is that you should know about it and you should build a diet and a lifestyle that's frequently inducing ketosis. But simultaneously, I think if you're in it indefinitely, it becomes a chronic stress. So that's why it's such a fun way to think about it as a stress, because we think about stress in just a negative way. And I talk about this a lot with my patients, that what makes us sick and what the pandemic is doing, what all of this stuff is doing, is a chronic stress. It suppresses, it crushes, it decreases your hormone function, it decreases your metabolism, it decreases your happiness. And when you add acute stresses strategically, you build your body's resilience and ability to really crush it and thrive. And really, you're hacking our lifestyle and replicating a lot of what's going on with our ancestors. They were under acute stresses all the time. And I think that we evolved to be under acute stresses, and this idea that you go to work forever, then you like sit in your car, then you come home and sit on the couch to like get over it. It's killing people.